Is that a real knife?
Yes, it's a real knife.
My weakness.
Oh, it's so simple. One second. Knock it off, man. No. Stop it. This could have gotten a lot worse.
Now hold still.
Yo, I got him! Freeze! Who are you? Freeze!
I just did 80% of your job. That's how you repay me?
The story opens with a young boy named Peter Parker walking into his father's study, only to find the entire room in disarray. Papers are scattered everywhere, and something clearly isn't right. Just then, his father rushes in, quickly gathering a few important documents before leaving in a hurry with his family. Soon after, Peter's parents drop him off at the house of his Uncle Ben and Aunt May without offering any explanation, and then they leave. The story then jumps forward a few years. Peter is now in high school. He's highly intelligent but introverted, always trying to stay out of trouble. Despite that, he's constantly bullied by his classmate Flash and his group. One day, Peter sees Flash picking on another student in front of everyone. Unable to tolerate it anymore, Peter steps in to defend the victim, but it only results in him getting beaten up. Thankfully, another student named Gwen Stacy arrives and breaks up the fight. Later, she praises Peter for his courage, which brings a small smile to his face. That same evening, Peter and Uncle Ben are cleaning the basement when Peter discovers his father's old briefcase. Inside a hidden compartment, he finds a collection of documents. As he reads through them, he learns that his father worked at Oscorp alongside a scientist named Dr. Kurt Connors. Curious, Peter searches online and discovers that his father was involved in cross-species genetics research. He also comes across the news that his parents died in a plane crash. The next day, determined to learn more, Peter goes to Oscorp. To get inside, he steals the identity of another student and enters as an intern. While walking through the facility, he notices Gwen, who is already working there as a senior intern under Dr. Connors. She questions why he's there, and Peter simply says he loves science. Although she doesn't expose him, she warns him to be careful. Later, Peter bumps into a man carrying documents with the same symbols he saw in his father's files. Curious, he follows him to a biochemical development lab. Once the man leaves, Peter sneaks inside and discovers an experiment involving genetically modified radioactive spiders. Out of curiosity, he accidentally disrupts the setup, causing the spiders to fall onto him. One of them bites him on the neck. On his way home in the subway, a group of thugs tries to bully him, but something has changed. Peter suddenly finds himself stronger, faster, and more agile. He effortlessly dodges their attacks. When he gets home and looks in the mirror, he notices the spider still on his neck. The next morning, Peter realizes he has developed spider-like abilities: enhanced strength, sharp reflexes, incredible agility, and speed. Later, he visits Dr. Connors and reveals that he is Richard Parker's son. Connors is surprised and explains that he and Richard were working on cross-species genetics to regenerate lost limbs. Connors himself lost his right arm and was deeply motivated by this research. However, after Richard's disappearance, the work remained unfinished. Hearing this, Peter writes down a missing formula and shows it to Connors, astonishing him. They agree to continue their discussion later. The following day at school, Flash continues his bullying, this time targeting a girl by ruining her work. Peter steps in again to help her. When a basketball comes flying toward them, Peter catches it effortlessly. Flash approaches to take it back, but this time Peter uses his powers to stand up to him. During the scuffle, he accidentally breaks the basketball hoop, leading to Uncle Ben being called to the school. Uncle Ben is disappointed, especially after hearing that Peter has been acting aggressively. Before leaving, he asks Peter to pick up Aunt May later that evening. Later, Peter heads back to Oscorp, practicing his newfound agility along the way. At the lab, Dr. Connors tests the formula Peter provided on a mouse, and to their amazement, it successfully regenerates its limb. When Peter returns home, he finds Uncle Ben waiting outside. Ben scolds him for forgetting to pick up Aunt May and reminds him of his father's belief that people should always fulfill their responsibilities. Frustrated, Peter argues that it doesn't matter anymore since his father is gone. He storms off in anger. Peter goes to a store to buy milk, but doesn't have enough money. At that moment, a thief robs the store and runs out. Uncle Ben, who is nearby searching for Peter, tries to stop the thief, but is shot in the process. Peter rushes to him, but it's too late. Uncle Ben dies. This tragedy devastates Peter, as Uncle Ben was the closest person he had. The next day at school, Flash approaches him, but instead of bullying him, he offers condolences. Gwen also tries to comfort Peter, but nothing seems to ease his pain. That night, consumed by anger, Peter confronts a group of criminals on the streets. As he fights them, he discovers another ability: he can stick to walls. From that point on, he begins hunting down criminals across the city, searching for the man who killed Uncle Ben. Along the way, he also ends up stopping various crimes. One night, he stumbles into an abandoned wrestling arena and finds a mask. This inspires him to create a disguise to hide his identity. Using his intelligence, Peter designs a suit and builds his own web shooters. Over time, he becomes known across the city as Spider-Man. While the public starts seeing him as a hero, the police view him as a vigilante taking the law into his own hands. Led by Gwen's father, Captain George, they begin actively searching for him. One evening, while Peter is playing around with a thief, the police corner him at gunpoint. However, he quickly escapes by swinging away. Meanwhile, Dr. Connors is pressured by his superior to begin human trials of the regeneration formula. But Connors firmly refuses. Dr. Connors refuses to move forward with human trials, unwilling to risk innocent lives for the sake of the experiment. Because of this decision, Dr. Ratha fires him and takes control of the limb regeneration formula. Feeling defeated and desperate, Dr. Connors injects himself with the experimental drug. After losing consciousness, he later wakes up to find that his missing limb has completely regenerated. However, the success comes at a terrifying cost. The drug mutates him into a massive reptilian creature. Driven by anger, he sets out to find Dr. Aratha. At the same time, Peter is invited to Gwen's house for dinner. During the meal, Captain George openly criticizes Spider-Man, insisting that he is a vigilante who must be arrested. Peter defends Spider-Man, calling him someone who helps people, which creates tension between them. Later, Peter and Gwen step out onto the terrace, where Peter reveals his secret identity as Spider-Man and confesses his feelings for her with a kiss. Their moment is interrupted when Captain George receives an emergency call and rushes out. Peter follows soon after. Peter arrives at the Williamsburg Bridge, where he sees the giant reptilian monster tossing cars off the bridge. He quickly suits up as Spider-Man and begins rescuing civilians using his web shooters. When the lizard notices Spider-Man, he retreats. During the rescue, Peter learns that a child is trapped inside a car hanging off the bridge. The frightened child refuses to move, so Peter removes his mask to gain his trust and successfully saves him. The next day, the police issue a warrant for Spider-Man's arrest, which deeply frustrates Peter, since he only wants to help people. He later visits Dr. Connors' lab to ask about the creature. Connors, acting strangely, claims that the monster becomes aggressive when threatened and quickly dismisses Peter. While leaving, Peter notices a chemical container that makes him realize Connors injected himself with the formula. Determined to stop him, Peter goes to the police station and tries to explain everything to Captain George, revealing that Connors used lizard DNA to regrow his limb, but turned into a monster due to an imbalance. However, George refuses to believe him and sends him away. Taking matters into his own hands, Peter heads into the sewers to find the lizard and sets up a camera for evidence. Soon, Connors transforms again and attacks him. They engage in a fierce battle, but Peter's web shooters malfunction, leaving him vulnerable. He barely manages to escape, but Connors finds the camera and realizes Spider-Man is actually Peter. Injured, Peter goes to Gwen, who helps treat his wounds. He admits that this is partly his fault, because he gave Connors the formula, and now he must fix it. The next day, Connors attacks Peter at school, causing chaos among students. Peter fights him off until the police arrive, forcing Connors to flee. Afterward, Peter asks Gwen to retrieve the antidote from Oscorp while he tracks Connors to his sewer hideout. There, he discovers Connors' plan to release the mutagen across the city using a device at Oscorp Tower, turning everyone into lizard-like creatures. Shocked, Peter tells Gwen to leave immediately as Connors is heading there. Meanwhile, one police unit confronts the lizard, while Captain George leads another team focused on capturing Spider-Man. The first unit manages to bring down the lizard briefly, but his healing ability spreads the mutagen to the officers. Elsewhere, Captain George's team captures Spider-Man and discovers his identity. Peter convinces him to let him go, explaining that the lizard is heading to Oscorp, where Gwen is in danger. As Peter rushes to Oscorp, he is accidentally shot in the leg, making it difficult for him to move. Seeing this, the father of the boy Spider-Man saved earlier decides to help. He organizes construction workers to align cranes across the city, creating a path for Spider-Man to swing through. With their help, Peter reaches Oscorp. At the tower, Gwen retrieves the antidote and gives it to her father, who rushes to help Spider-Man. Captain George arrives during the battle and shoots at the lizard, giving Peter the chance to climb to the top and release the antidote into the air, reversing the transformation. During the fight, the lizard fatally injures Captain George before turning back into Dr. Connors. The antidote spreads, curing Connors and the infected officers. As the tower begins to collapse, Peter nearly falls to his death, but is saved at the last moment by the restored Dr. Connors. Peter rushes to Captain George, who is dying. George tells him that the city needs Spider-Man, but warns that his enemies will target those he loves. He makes Peter promise to keep Gwen out of danger. Peter agrees. Afterward, Peter keeps his promise by distancing himself from Gwen, even skipping Captain George's funeral. Gwen understands the reason behind his behavior and accepts it. Later at school, Flash approaches Peter with a changed attitude, showing respect and even wearing a Spider-Man shirt, which Peter acknowledges. In the final scene, Spider-Man watches as police chase criminals through the city. Without hesitation, he swings into action, fully embracing his role as a hero. And that's a wrap on today's recap. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a plot twist. Got a movie you want recapped? Drop it in the comments below. This is DX Movie Shorts. See you in the next one.